What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I'm Scrap Jackson. Welcome to The Come Up. It's a video podcast celebrating Southwest Florida's most interesting entrepreneurs and executives. We're brought to you by Content with Teeth, a creative content marketing agency right here in Southwest Florida. They do it really big, like this fathead behind me. And if you want to be a guest, reach out to me at Hey Scrappy on Instagram or text Content with Teeth at 21,000. That's Content with Teeth. Our guest today is Gary Willoughby, Executive Director of the Gulf Coast Humane Society. It's a nonprofit organization in Fort Myers, which is a non-kill animal shelter funded only by donations. They take in 3,000 homeless animals a year, provide veterinarian care, and transition rescued animals into happy, loving homes. Gary, welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Let's start with the hard facts. 80% of dogs in Southwest Florida are not spayed or neutered.
That sounds about right, and we're doing our best to try to remedy that. We do almost 9,000 spay-neuter surgeries every year in our clinic.
And what do you profess to people out there that are being irresponsible with this?
Well, and again, they may not think like that. If they only have one pet, they may think that it's not necessary because their dog or cat's not going to get out, or their cat's not, and get pregnant. But animals get loose all the time, and so it's something that we strongly recommend. There's too many pets ending up in shelters, and one of the best remedies is spay neuter.
I have an interesting story for you. I worked on Palm Beach Boulevard, and my work was stressed. I love what I did, but on a stressful moment, I'd say, you know what? I'm going to go by your facility, and I'm going to pet the dogs, talk to the cats, and just relax for 15 or 20 minutes. And it always did the trick. Always. Now that afternoon, I went back happy and healthy and ready to go. Or is everybody allowed just to come by and browse?
No, absolutely. You don't have to have an appointment to come see our animals. And we're open 7 days a week here. So we fit about any schedule. Again, including one night, Thursday night. Today we're open till 7 o'clock, and then open again Saturday and Sunday. So come by. You don't have to be even ready to adopt. You may just want to come and ask some questions. And if you already have a dog at home, you want to bring your dog out to meet one of our other dogs. We also have folks that help you make sure it's a good fit for your family.
Okay. And, I went through this process for weeks, checking out your cats and your dogs and having a nice time with them. I finally adopted, and I got Zoe, my cat. And, nice. It's very cathartic. Pets are very cathartic. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it's something called the human-animal bond that we're big believers in. Again, we think of animals as part of our family. There's a lot of studies showing how they help with your blood pressure, giving you a reason to get out of bed in the morning sometimes if people are fighting depression or they're not feeling well in general, knowing that animal's counting on you for care, for feeding, to take your dog for a walk, all that. It's good for you, and obviously it's good for that animal that needs you.
I call it a spiritual connection. I feel like that emotional bond between an owner and a pet is so profound that it's hard to put to words.
Yeah, they're 100% reliant on us. We domesticated animals, many thousands of years ago because they were important to us. Our ancestors knew that, and we first domesticated dogs, but way back in 16,000 BC.
Wow.
So again, it's been part of our lives for many, many, many generations, and we know that importance. And so that's what we're always advocating, to keep animals in loving homes if they already are there and they need help with pet food or affordable veterinary care or whatever. The last thing we want to do is see somebody's family broken up by bringing their animals to us when we can help them keep it in the home.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking about cathartic, I'll give you a quick story. There was this kid with autism, and his mom was actually going to see some dogs and check them out. But she was actually going there shopping, if you will, for her nephew. But her child with autism had 3 dogs approach him. One, after he screamed really loud, threw his hands up in the air. He was out of control. One dog ran. One dog approached him, and the other dog just sat there and looked at him. And it was so calm and so wonderful that he actually was trained to be a service dog, and that dog to this day is helping this child with autism. I really feel like it's something to promote. It's not just the camaraderie and the companion that we get from a cat or a dog, but also the wonderful effects they have on us.
Absolutely, and there are many people that are taking advantage of emotional support animals. to help them add value to their daily lives. And animals, like in the situation you just described, often can read our body language and kind of know, they kind of pick us as adopters as often as we pick them. We may come in thinking we want one dog, and then another dog you may see, really knows you're my human and I want you, and they send that signal to us, and we end up adopting that dog or that cat. And again, especially folks with special needs, not every animal is perfect for every family, and so that's great that you have that experience. And again, we see that we have folks from LARC and other community organizations that come out here and spend time here and work here one day a week. And the way they are around the animals is really incredible to see them come out of their shells.
Is it true they take on the personality of their owner, or are they innate and they stick that way?
Yeah, I think they probably stick that way. They learn habits from us. Again, if we're couch potato, they might end up being that way as well if we're very active. But a lot of it is innate in their personalities already, and that may be why we're drawn to somebody. Usually, we see that couch potato dog with a couch potato type person, and that person that likes to jog 3 or 4 miles a day, they're going to pick an animal that's equally able to do that, jogging alongside with them.
How soon can you tell a puppy's personality? How many weeks old?
I mean, I guess we see them at all ages. Oftentimes they're with a mom, and sometimes that can be harder, or how big the litter is. So they're forming their, you can tell the differences in a litter. We just recently had a mama dog and 9 puppies that came here when the puppies were pretty young. And it didn't take long at all to see they were 9 different personalities. And sometimes they're also they look very different, lots of different colors and shapes. And, you don't always know who the father is. We just saw the mama dog here, but 9 distinctive personalities in these puppies.
Do you have any hints as far as adopters coming to your facility and looking for a puppy, as far as how to pick?
Yeah, and shelters generally don't get a lot of puppies. When we do, they tend to get adopted quickly. So that's where I would encourage you, like you've done in the past, is come and visit, talk to some of the staff, our staff that work with them every day. They can starting off with asking you questions about what you're looking for, your living arrangements, other people and other animals in your house, how active you want to be. Are you looking for somebody to go on car rides with you or on your boat, or just to play around the backyard? So learning more about you and your family helps identify the type of puppy, the breed, the characteristics, the sizes, and all that would be best suited for your house.
Gary, as an executive director, how did you get in this game? What motivated you to become where you are today?
Yeah, and it wasn't a direct path. I started off this shelter actually as a kid. I moved to Florida when I was young, and I actually adopted my first kitten from this shelter in 1979. So wow. I go back to the organization quite a ways. And right after I graduated college, I adopted a dog from another group in St. Pete, and I started volunteering for them. And then I fostered and I helped at special events. And later on, I was a board member of a different shelter here in North Fort Myers at the Animal Refuge Center. And after I finished grad school, I decided that I wanted to make this not just something I did on the side or as my hobby or my volunteerism. I wanted to do this full time. And so that's what I've done for about the last 15 or 16 years, is worked in animal welfare organizations in several different states, and was super lucky that this opportunity back in my hometown came available last year.
How rewarding is it?
It's an emotional roller coaster some days, because you see, when you love animals as much as we do, you see, abuse and neglect. But when you see those animals overcome that and find that great home afterwards, it recharges you. It's really, when you see animals that come in scared and leave happy as could be, and getting those updates from people who've adopted, it makes all the difference in the world for us.
One of the biggest problems with cats is they scratch. They scratch the furniture, they scratch various things. So do we declaw them? Because I've heard a lot of bad things about declawing.
Yeah, it's where I most recently was up in New York State, and we had it banned at the state level. So it's against the law to declaw cats up there. So it's not something we would do or recommend. We understand, again, why people are concerned about, nobody wants to be scratched, and especially if they have thin skin and they're worried about, bleeding or things. But at home, I have lots of, little scratching pads and, scratching posts, and you train. And my cat was 5 when I adopted him, and it took no time at all to get him used to scratching on those. So my furniture is all safe. I'm safe. I don't have any, so they can be trained out of it in most cases. So, and again, our staff is happy to offer some advice to folks, because again, it is, the veterinarians share with us how troubling of a procedure it is for the cat's health to do that. So we strongly discourage that.
Sure. How smart are cats?
I guess like people, I mean, they vary. I think they're kind of, mine seems to be a very bright guy, and they like the routine. He's friendly. He's very, very affectionate for 30 seconds, and then he runs off and does something else. And so he's my cat's pretty smart, and I think most of them are. And they're more trainable than I think people know too. Some people leash walk their cats. Some train them to walk through a cat door to go to the porch. Mm-hmm. So again, they're usually pretty bright creatures. Again, they're very different personalities than dogs, but again, I have both at home and love them both equally.
Okay, so you have a dog and a cat. Are you inclined to take all of them home at the end of the day?
I've been guilty of that in the past, where I've had 4 dogs and 3 cats plus fostering animals, and I wasn't even the worst example in my place of work. So I'm better at it now. And my little dog is old and diabetic and visually impaired, and so right now he's not looking for a new buddy. So I try to be sensitive to. I do take animals on the news all the time, and I fall in love with a different dog just about every day, and so I really just try to celebrate when I find that right family for them and they get adopted, because I know as much as I love one dog, tomorrow there's going to be another one in this place that I like just as much.
Sure. You have a cat, I have a cat, so we're guys that have cats. Yeah. But in some respects, I still hear that it's not cool for a guy to have a cat. Sometimes I mention to people at work, yeah, I've got a cat and I'm proud of it, and they look at me sideways. Yes. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, and I guess again, it's to each his own. I guess I've always loved cats and loved all animals. I've had rabbits in the past, and it's I don't know why it is guys think it's not cool to have cats. Although again, we are fortunate. We're around a lot of our volunteers and our staff. The guys here have cats and like them as well. And doesn't mean you're less of a guy because you because you have a cat. I think I have a really cool cat. His name is Emmett. I think he's awesome. Even when I took him on the news, the guy interviewing me there wasn't a big cat fan, I could tell, and that's okay. Again, it's maybe that's how they're peer pressure or how they were brought up. Maybe their dads didn't like cats as well. Yeah. I love them, and so more for me, I guess, if they don't all want them.
Okay. I have a couple feral cats in my neighborhood. Is it dangerous to touch them?
Not dangerous to touch them. I mean, they're usually more likely to run away from you, so you're probably not going to be able to. Right. So we do a lot of TNR surgeries here at our clinic, and work with a lot of groups who trap them in the communities to make sure they're spayed or neutered. But again, they're happy just to have some food left out for them, and they don't want to bother you. They want you far away from them. Our goal is just to make sure there's not a lot of unplanned litters of kittens coming from those feral cats.
Right.
Because again, when they're born outside, that's a tough environment for them. And those also, if they're not, socialized at a young age, by the time they're 7 or 8 weeks old, they may not be able to be socialized.
Interesting.
So the sooner we can get them in, and the feral cat groups we work with, when they catch them, we try to take the kittens in and foster them and socialize them so they can also be adopted inside houses, not outside.
Okay. Huge general question for you. Tips on how to train your dog.
Probably I would consult the professionals in that. I said there are a large amount of, you can do general like dog training classes or puppy classes at like your local PetSmart or things like that. I've done that in the past with animals. There are a lot of specialists depending on, what your dog's, what it needs training on. So if it's, jumping a lot, if it's training on housebreaking, on how to get along with other dogs. There's a lot of different things. So there are experts who make this profession just studying dog psychology and behavioral tendencies, and because again, all dogs, just like people, are all individuals, and so their care plan needs to be tailored to their specific issues and their home environment. And sometimes the trainers will tell us as well, part of it's also training us as the dog owners, that sometimes we're part of the reason why their behavioral that we may not always be reading the body language, and we might need training ourselves just as much as the dog does.
Very interesting. So more specifically, how do we train a puppy to pee and poop outside?
Crate training is what I've done. I haven't had puppies often, but crate training, getting them into a routine, regular, again, if you're somebody who's gone 12 hours a day, that puppy's not going to hold it that long. So puppy pads in your crate. Whenever, even my older dogs now, every time they drink or every time he eats, he's going outside right afterwards. So getting him out, trying to read that body language. When the puppy's done playing, when he's done eating or drinking, or wakes up from a nap, he's got to go. So getting him outside quickly and teaching him that routine, and then celebrating when he does it good outside, and then bringing him back inside and giving him a treat and all that. So rewarding that good behavior.
Right.
They want to please us.
Absolutely. And I've heard mixed opinions about crating. You believe in it?
Yeah, I have for years and years. Again, making sure it's a large enough crate. You don't get one when they're a puppy and then they can barely squeeze in there later on. You want to make sure they have room for for their treats and their water and their bed. I have a dog bed in mind for my little dog, and it's especially if you have other pets in the home. Again, it's some people may have a spare bedroom or something that they use, but the dogs often I look at it holistic. I have music on at home as well. I make sure the blinds are drawn so it's not too bright, and just try to have a nice, just like we want to sleep in a comfortable environment. You want to make sure it's comfortable for your dog.